Hello everybody, welcome to our third Nisekoi volume review. This time we are covering volumes 6 and 7, which is chapters 45 through 62. Of course, as always, I have Jaden here with me.
Yep, that's me.
And of course, I'm Corbin or Glowplasma here. And as always, we would just like to talk about these chapters, do a review of the volumes. Of course, I have read the series a multitude of times now, and this is Jaden's first time reading it. So let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to mention is what happened in the last volumes, or more specifically, the last chapter. And the last chapter really ended off on the note of Onodera asking Raku if she can kiss him.
Yep, it was the beach episode, obligatory.
Yes, and that pretty much just happens there. That is it, and then we start this next two volumes with that. So chapter 45, which is the first one, we pretty much have the fallout of the last chapter. Chitoge misunderstands what
Onodera says.
Yes. And Raku falls asleep. Big joke.
Okay, I personally thought that scene was very disappointing. I was hoping for at least a little bit of development, and they kept just edging us on with it.
This series runs for 25 volumes,
That's true, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, and then pretty much Chitoge and Raku sit down, and Chitoge asks Raku what it would be like if they were actually dating.
Yes.
Of course, and Raku says, it'd be like crap. It would never work. It's barely working now.
Yeah.
And Chitoge from then on goes distant for a long time with Raku.
Yep.
Next chapter, we get the introduction of what's happening next with the school play. We understand that Shu wants Raku and Chitoge to play the leads.
Of Romeo and Juliet, right?
Yes, the play is Romeo and Juliet. Chitoge doesn't want to do it, being that her and Raku are having a disagreement. Onodera steps in, and Chitoge becomes the understudy, and she's a little disappointed about this, realizing that she sort of missed her chance to do stuff.
And who became the main lead again? It was
Onodera.
Tachibana. No, okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, Onodera plays it.
Okay.
We'll get to Tachibana's role later.
All right.
Or Marika's role. Next chapter, we get the costumes for the characters, and at the end of the chapter, Chitoge slaps the crap out of Raku.
Bitch slaps him.
Yeah, just round aside the face. Like, I'm sure that was a loud slap, and that there was a heck ton of silence after that moment.
Rei and Asuka slap scene, very similar. Had the same aura around it.
Sure. Chapter 48, pretty much we're getting into the start of the play, and there's some people up on the ladder getting the set ready. Onodera's walking by, this person falls off the ladder. Onodera catches them, she gets hurt, and then she's hurt so she can no longer play. Who's the understudy? Chitoge. Raku goes to get Chitoge, and then they agree to, you know what, let's do this, let's knock him dead.
Tachibana was the understudy.
No. This is not how it works. Chitoge was the understudy.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Fine. Okay. I don't know. Pretty much, Chitoge knows all of the lines or whatever. And so she plays it instead of anybody else.
Okay.
How about that? And they said knock him dead, and they start on it again. Chapter 49, the play happens. Marika and Claude interrupt, and the play is complete.
It all falls apart, basically.
Yeah, it really falls apart. Apparently, Romeo has a lot of love affairs going on, and it's a whole mess, but it's a very good chapter. Chapter 50, the fault of the play, and since Onodera was hurt, she's sort of feeling a bit better, and she asked Raku to do the play themselves, right? If just since she put so much into the play, if she can just do it like it was done before. Nice moment. It's an Onodera chapter. Next, we have chapter 51. Chitoge, admits, I want to fuck him.
Wowzer.
And pretty much Raku gets his pendant back after this, and it's still broken, but he feels like he should tell everybody, and whenever it gets fixed, do we open it or do we not open it? Pretty much has that conversation with everybody, and Chitoge is Onodera and Tachibana are yeah, let's open it. Chitoge is sort of do I want to? Do I want this to be over at this rate? Chapter 52, it's a joke chapter. about getting Chitoge's measurements, being that there's a suitcase that's got to get opened, and what are the numbers? Oh, they're measurements. Oh no, need to go get Chitoge's measurements. Who else is going to do it but Raku? Oh no, oh look at that. Oh, they're Claude's measurements. Let's go. It's a joke chapter. It's not the worst chapter out of this entire batch. I think there's one chapter that's worse, but this is the second worst one.
Okay.
Chapter 53 is Horoscopes. Raku gets a lucky horoscope in the morning. Onodera gets a not good horoscope. Onodere's day turns pretty good whenever her and Raku interact.
Mm-hmm.
Back page of the notes. 54. Paula shows up. Did you like Paula's character, Jaden?
I did not. I thought those chapters are very unnecessary and kind of dumb, in my opinion.
They're the third and fourth worst chapters out of this batch.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. These 2 volumes were not the greatest, in my opinion.
They were very good.
Okay.
The middle part of it, there's pretty much, it starts out on a really high note, ends on a really high note. The middle parts of these 2 volumes weren't the best. Paula shows up. Paula is another one of the Beehive's, like, assassin people. Same with Tsugumi. She shows up, interacts with Tsugumi, stuff happens. There's a whole joke that we've got to win this battle of who's the better assassin by kissing Raku. Whoo. Tsugumi ends up sort of kissing Raku, not really, but does it. And Paula is just happy to be around Tsugumi again, being that they've got a previous relationship. Chapter 56, class grades come out for everybody, and we learned that Marika is not good at school.
Oh yeah, she placed like almost dead last.
Yes, so Raku and Chitoge go over to her place to come study. Marika doesn't really want to do it, she just wants to have fun with Raku and everything.
Yeah, she initially invited Raku and Chitoge tagged along.
Yeah, and there's jokes that like, oh, Raku doesn't want to do all of this and Marika's just trying to get some stuff happening, right? Marika eventually like passes out, and Raku ends up writing out some notes that makes Marika really happy that, oh, look at this, it's very nice. And then at the end, we get Honda, Marika's bodyguard, showing up and saying some stuff at the end about how she needs to take care of herself.
Yeah.
Look at that. Chapter 57, the worst chapter out of this batch.
Alright, what was this one?
This is the, hey, Raku, what's different about me chapter? I hated it. Every time I read Nisekoi, I always hate this chapter. I'm sorry.
I thought it was fine.
I just hate it. It's fine at the end of the day, but it's really...
Alright.
I want to talk about it. Read chapter 57 if you really want it. Chapter 58. Ruri, Onodera's friend, loses her glasses. Pretty much the whole thing of finding her glasses. Raku talks with Ruri for a moment, and Ruri almost says that Onodera likes him, right? Shu steps in, and Shu pretty much says, let them figure it out for themselves. It's going to be meaningless if it comes from you. Let them find it themselves.
And she kind of set it up to where Onodera and Raku would find the glasses and go off by themselves for a moment.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Did anything come of it? No. We've got about 170 chapters left.
I also felt that chapter was not the greatest.
Which one?
The one
Glasses?
the one with Rui, yeah.
Well, from having a more found respect for Shu as a character from reading the series, I actually enjoy it. Just one of Shu's first big moments before what we will probably get in the next 2 volumes, which is the least best Shu moment, but whatever. It's a Ruri chapter. Yeah, great.
Which one?
Oh, it's chapter 58, the one we just talked about.
Oh, okay.
Chapter 59 begins the Christmas arc. Chitoge's mother, Hana, enters the picture, and Chitoge never's really gotten along with her mother, and it ends up that through a weird, wacky set of events, Raku becomes the secretary for her, right? Chapter 60, pretty much with Raku working for Hana for a few days, Hana wants Chitoge and Raku to have a penthouse suite on Christmas Eve for each other.
Yeah.
Right? And we learned the importance of the ribbon that Chitoge always wears. That is a Christmas gift that her mom gave her when she was very young. And she also takes off the ribbon at this point and is not seen wearing it for the next few chapters.
Yeah.
Little note there. 61. Raku works his ass off, just getting stuff done, getting everything ready for Hana.
Absolute machine.
Yes. He's really good at this. Yeah. he pretty much yells at Hana and just tells her, be with your damn child on Christmas, right? And eventually goes and picks up Chitoge and brings her to see her mother on Christmas Eve.
Because Chitoge's mother has kind of had bad, she has bad confidence in herself that she's a good mother to her child, and she thinks that Chitoge hates her. So she's been avoiding her.
Exactly, and Chitoge just can't get over the fact about that. Yes. And Chitoge is still not wearing the ribbon here, and Raku goes to pick her up and bring her, right? And then in chapter 62, the final chapter of these volumes, we've got a heart-to-heart moment with Hana and Chitoge, and at the end, we learn all of the deep emotional connection between the two of them, and Chitoge thanks Raku a whole lot. That's the end of these volumes.
Yeah.
Now, just before we go back through it, I just want to say something. If you have not read the Christmas arc, I think it's one of the best arcs to read. It's one of my favorite arcs.
I enjoyed it. It was all right. I mean...
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. It's got a very nice moment with the two characters and all of that. So, being that...
Oh, it's also revealed, one last thing, that the ribbon that Chitoge wanted was from a picture book that Raku gave her 10 years ago.
Good point,
and her mother knew that, but didn't say anything.
Yes, her mother knows that her and Raku... She even, says... I wonder how that boy from 10 years ago turned out as a person ever she hires him on as the secretary.
Yep.
Thanks for bringing that up. I missed that in my 2 pages of notes.
Come on.
So, Jaden, what are your thoughts on these 2 volumes?
All right. These 2 volumes I felt were not as good as the last ones, personally. I feel like there were a lot of chapters that were kind of fillery, but that's kind of to be expected with a series this long. I mean, they got to draw it out.
Yes.
They can't cut to the point like some other shows can.
I mean, right here, for, the first part of it, the first chapter volume is the pretty much fallout of the beach thing, right? And then we've got school play stuff, right? And then we've got, a few joke chapters, right? But that builds toward the plot a little bit, right? Then we end off on the Christmas arc.
Okay.
That's really the structure that all this follows.
So, here are my following notes right here. I still think Onodera is the best girl, followed by Chitoge, but Chitoge's moving up on the ranks. She's getting a lot better.
I really think chapter 50 is the turning point for this series. That's when you're done by the arc. And I think by chapter 50, it carries the same level of quality throughout the entire thing.
And then you have Tsugumi, and then a few ranks below you have Tachibana. I just don't like her.
Yeah, alright, well, fair enough.
Now, I'm reading fan translations, and the fan translations actually do include translations of everything that came in the magazine issue. There was actually a poll that was taken around chapter 57, I think.
Yes,
Onodera got number 1.
Yes, this is actually not in the English volumes.
Yeah.
Not an English volume release. I'm guessing since it's a Japanese popularity poll.
Yeah. But according to the magazine readers, Onodera's on top, and I agree with them.
And the best part about how you're reading it is you get to see the actual color pages while we get to see the black and white version of them. Whatever, but...
So, I feel like the disagreement and fight between Chitoge and Raku, I felt that was a little short. They could have drawn it out a little bit longer and built the tension more. It felt like just a one-day disagreement when I was reading the chapters.
Yes, I can see that. But I think how they come back together in the end is a lot more of a better story for it all.
Yeah.
Just with, them disagreeing and then, Raku's Chitoge, we've got to do this. We've got to knock him dead. They're let's do it.
Now, I'm a little biased towards Love is War, but I think that there's an arc called the Ice Kaguya arc. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. I think it handles a relationship fight a little bit better and is able to really put conflict and the thoughts of each character into words better. But it was good. It was needed, I felt.
Let me say this. This is not the last time this happens.
Okay.
Carry on.
All right. Chitoge's mom was an interesting character, and once again shows Raku's ability to simp sometimes. I felt that their dynamic was pretty cool. She's over the top as hell.
Oh,
obviously.
yes. There's a scene where they break through a window
with a zip line launcher.
Yeah, it's but the premise of this series is 2 Yakuza's bosses' kids getting together, the police department's kid getting on with it. Eventually, the Chinese mafia gets involved. I mean,
it's anime. There's going to be a level of ridiculousness you just got to accept.
Yeah, but there are also other series that not one of the popular Shonen Jump harems, We Never Learn, that's pretty much just take place in a school setting, right? It's got none of this, none of the suspension of disbelief that this series has.
Yeah.
Granted, suspension of disbelief is one reason why I like this series a bit more, just because of the wild stuff that goes on.
Yeah, Love is War is similar to that. You know, it takes place at a very rich preppy school, and everybody's loaded. But anyways, honestly, we went over most of my notes while talking about the different chapters. I felt the Miyamoto and Paula chapters were a little unnecessary.
Yeah, Paula is a character that sort of just shows up in the series and that plays pivotal parts, but not really. She gets more important whenever more characters are introduced later. But this introduction of Paula just is there just to have a Tsugumi chapter.
Yeah.
And while Tsugumi is my favorite girl, it's just like, this isn't a needed chapter. It's just not.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's needed, but also we need to get her introduced.
Yeah. So, due to the little bit of fat that these volumes had, and just there's some chapters I felt were not very strong or felt unnecessary. Overall, 7 out of 10, which is still very positive, but there's a good amount of flaws that I'm willing to say these weren't as good as the last ones.
So let me ask you here. So is that like your series rating, or just for these 2 volumes?
These 2 volumes so far.
So
I mean overall.
Yeah, what would you say your overall? If these 2 volumes are 7 out of 10, what is your overall?
I mean, overall it's probably around 7.5, maybe close to 8, but
because your last time it was an 8.5 for those 3 volumes, right?
It was 7.5.
7.5. Yes. All right.
Now I will go ahead and say I have started to read ahead, and the start of part of volume 8 is really freaking good.
Is it?
So far, yes.
All right. Well, I don't think we have anything else we need to say.
Yep, I think I summed it up quite well.
Yeah, again, this was volume 6 and 7, chapters 45 to 62, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll be back with volume 8, volume 9.
Volume 8 and volume 9. See you later.
All right, see ya.